one of our partners and sponsors, AWS, which stands for Amazon Web Services. So they're all about supporting startups and small businesses. So if you are thinking of starting your own small business or you're already a founder, please do visit their website and really just check out all the amazing things that they're doing for small businesses. And I'd also like to give to acknowledge another one of our partners, which is PayFast. They are the ones that help us make sure that we are able to host. Thank you very much to Amazon Web Services as well as PayFast. So we do have quite a few people in the session, so I think we can start with our session. So once again, thank you for everybody for joining our session. I know it's December, and it's actually the day before one of the craziest days in our country. So the fact that you guys are here it really means a lot to us. So thank you so much to each and every single one of you that has been with us throughout the year. And as we end off the year with an amazing speaker who is a serial entrepreneur who goes by the name of Joey Horing. But before we start with our fireside chat, I just want to encourage you guys to just keep interacting. Please ask questions in the chat box. And also, we do have a gift voucher to give away. So, people must just keep a lookout for that. So we can start with our fireside chat because I know it's December and people wanna let loose and relax. So, before we start with the fireside, I wanna quickly just go through our speaker's bio, just so that everybody is aware of the caliber of person that we have in our session today. She's really doing amazing things, and we are excited to have her here. And I'm hoping that each and every single one of you will learn something from her. And you know, the thing with Startup Grind, it's not just events. It's really about forming those new relationships and connecting with each other and learning from each other and really just getting inspired by our speakers. So I'm just gonna read the bio for Joey. So Joey Mamcgina Horing is a certified recruitment consultant who owns Green Express Cafe located in Bloemfontein and Botshabelo. She's also the Chief Operational COO of Espresso Trading, a distribution and business solutions company. Additionally, Joey is the managing director of Drip Solutions, a construction company which specializes in recruitment and distribution. Furthermore, Joey is an aspiring author who is currently writing her book titled Sleeping with the Boss. Being a female in a male-dominated industry is a daily challenge, but Joey is up for it. Being hands-on with the day-to-day activities at home and with the kids, she needed to make a decision that will comply with this lifestyle and schedules. Choosing to be independent and self-sufficient was the only way to go for Joey. She continues to do business where she funds herself, no tenders, no government assistance. Building your own empire enables you to empower your children and their children. Leaving a legacy is what matters most to Joey. She holds morals of high esteem and values loyalty, integrity, and her word is her honor. So that is a bit of a mouthful, and I was touring through it. So welcome, Joey.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here. How are you feeling
I'm not
today?
gonna lie, I feel nervous, but I'm good. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Okay, it's an amazing pleasure to have you, and you know, it's incredible for us to be closing off the year with a powerhouse of a woman. So thank you so much for availing your time and really sharing your experience with our community. And you know, it's really about just connecting with each other and learning from each other and really forming those connections. So it's really nothing to be nervous about. It's just a conversation. So in true startup grind style, as much as we're about entrepreneurship, but we also want to learn about the person and to understand what makes Joey who she is today. So just to start off, may you please just give us a bit of background about yourself. So basically where you grew up and when did you first have that initial stirring for entrepreneurship?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. You know what? Like I said, I was a bit nervous, so I've got a small icebreaker for everybody. Okay. So my whole history. One day I dropped my son off at school. So we were a bit late in the morning, and he's like, "You see, mommy, that's why I never want to work for a boss one day." I'm like, "Okay, why?" Like, no, I don't want people asking me, "Why are you late?" So hence me being self-employed and self-sustained. So I think it's in my good to do that. So that's my icebreaker.
He's a smart boy.
He is, eh? But then, okay. So I'm Joey, Mamcgina. I was born and raised in a small farming community in the Eastern Cape. It's Mamcgina. It's within the Langkloof. And, I'm from what they call nowadays a broken family. So after I finished my school, my high school, I moved to Bloemfontein with my uncle, and that was totally by chance. So, growing up, I always wanted to make it big in life. In fact, I wanted to become a family lawyer, and but due to financial constraint, I could never finish. But I didn't put it on the back burner. It's just that, you make decisions based on your life and your lifestyle at the moment and what's best then. So I've worked in the hospitality industry. I for a good few years. After that, I went into administration, and after that, I became a recruitment consultant. So what was also important for me is now currently I'm the COO at Tufikle Trading, which is a distribution and business solution company. I'm the founder of DRIP Solutions, and then a construction company. And then also, I'm the owner of Green Express Cafe in Bloemfontein. And then you also would want to know who Joey is. Okay, so Joey is very detailed person, very well organized, no nonsense team player, and but mostly I'm very family orientated, and I love being a mall manager. So I think, yeah.
I think in one of our conversations when we were prepping for this, you did mention one of the things that inspired you or that made you wanna pursue entrepreneurship or do better was that you were in school and realized that some kids had things that you really didn't have, things that you couldn't really afford. Can you maybe just touch a little bit on that part of your background?
Oh yeah. Growing up, like I said, being raised in a broken home, mostly as a single parent with my mother, and they try and give us everything, but obviously it's never going to be the same. So going to school and seeing other kids, have certain things, and you realize, but I don't have this and I don't have that. And I'm like, this is something that I never want my kids to feel.
Yeah.
I want to better my life so that I can be able to better their lives, and they would never lack anything. So I think that is basically what it was.
Okay. One thing that I think I get from this is that providing for your kids and providing for your family is a major driver for you doing what you do. And it's quite refreshing to hear that, because in most cases you hear people It's either entrepreneurship or it's either you are a mom or a wife. It's never,
Okay.
we hardly ever hear somebody who sort of has the whole package. So it's quite refreshing to hear that, you know, you are family orientated. You don't have to choose between entrepreneurship or being a mom. You can actually do both. And so another question is around a bit of mentorship and utilizing your circle. You know, as many of the times we want to start our own businesses, and we look to people like maybe your Vusitemba Kwayos or and all these other big business people, whereas whereas we do have those kinds of people in our circle that we could learn from. So can you maybe share a personal experience where you might have learned something from somebody that might be in your close-knit circle, or did you have to go looking on social media to ask somebody to be your mentor? Or yeah,
I see where you're going with this. Okay. The thing is, my husband is self-sustained.
yeah.
So he's sort of pushed and mentored me into this. You know what he would do? He would double book himself so that I then have to like jump in and like attend meetings and negotiations for him with big reputable companies. And obviously that was nerve-wracking. But you know what he does? Then he puts his phone on silent because he's in a different meeting. Or it's off, and now I need to go into to autopilot. So I think that's how I learned, and that's how I knew, you know what, I can do this. But then also what happened is being thrown in the deep end. That's what I told him. He said, no, Joey, I'm not throwing you in the deep end. I'm preparing you for the future. So I think for me, he was my biggest inspiration. And working with him side to side, you know, that really helped me a lot. So he is my Vusi.
Clearly, I need to get a Vusi as well. Okay. Okay. I think what I'm also getting from that is really, you know, you don't always have to look outside to get somebody who will be able to help you to get to that next level. And many a times people get thrown in the deep end and they are more on the, yo, I'm so scared, I don't know if I can do it. So I think what I can personally take from this situation is that you don't always have to think you're ready. Just take the opportunity and run with it. And really, because you're already doing so amazing now, whereas you started with your husband throwing you into the deep end. So I think the word of advice to everybody is, you know, to just take that leap of faith, even though you're not really sure what to do. Don't always shy away from it. So
definitely.
So now I want to talk about something that is a big passion of yours, which is obviously your cafe. So can you maybe just tell us a bit more about Green Express Cafe and why you went into the hospitality industry, especially in Bloemfontein, where people in that industry often say that it's very uncertain and, you know, it's a bit of a risky business because the Bloem population is not so big, and, you know, you have to divide everybody across all the different restaurants. So what was the thing for you that made you go into that industry? And
all right, to give you a bit of background about Green Express Cafe, Green Express Cafe is an authentic, rustic, jazzy, artistic get-together. And in my own words, I would describe it as my baby, which I'm still nurturing and breastfeeding. And it actually started as a small cafeteria in a hospital outside of Bloemfontein. You know, most people don't even know about it or talk about it, but I always say that it gave birth to Green Express Cafe in Bloemfontein. So I gotta give it that small recognition. But then I've always loved the hospitality industry. I am a total foodie. I love customer services. I love cooking at home, taking beautiful pictures. So just one moment for me.
Yeah. The distractions isn't boosting.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I decided, why don't I just build something that I think that will work for us. So we literally did that, brick by brick, counter for counter. And yes, it's very challenging. I mean, you find so many challenging every day, but especially during this COVID time. But you know what we do? We're more focused on pop-up sessions, poetry sessions, and then you also negotiate reasonable prices with suppliers during this pandemic. So yeah, but there's
I,
sorry.
I think just another question. Starting a business or any business for that matter, what would you say has been one of the greatest challenges with setting up the cafe? Like, if you were to really just think about it.
Well, I would say, well, most people would say finding the right staff. For me, having the recruitment background, no, not really, but the financing, the financing, definitely the financing.
Okay.
And there's something that you should never do, that is cross financing, which I did. So I think that's one of the most challenging things. It's finance, and I did cross financing, and I'm very proud of that.
So by cross financing,
I mean, that's taking money from the one
business.
business and funding the other business and just keeping it afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that many small businesses do, especially if you have a different, like getting an order from jewelry, and then I have another order from CPay, and then I use jewelry's money for CPay, and then it becomes like a whole big mess. So I think that's something that many small businesses can really relate to. But so with the hospitality industry, it's one of the industries that were severely affected and negatively impacted by COVID. So what would you say are some of the things that you have done or are doing still to make sure that you do stay afloat and that you do stay relevant throughout these times?
Okay. One of the things that I mentioned was the cross financing, and then also negotiating better prices with your suppliers, focusing more on doing things that are more relevant to either the season or the time that you're in the business. I think that's what I would say.
So how would you then describe the energy or the vibe that you guys have at Green Express Cafe? How is it different to what other cafes are doing in Bloem? Is there any like a competitive edge, or like how is it different?
I mean, you're talking to Joey, so I don't think there's any other. Okay, but that is we have a jazzy. Like I said, it's poetry, it's jazz, it's arty. That's what we have, and also the rusticness. We want to make it more original and authentic. I don't know if I'm repeating myself a lot here, but that's the kind of vibe that we have, and especially for people my age, which is not really old, but we're not into the club scene anymore. So we want a place where you could go and you have a meal, you enjoy like good food, you enjoy good live music, live bands. You can look at art, you can listen to poetry. So just a nice get together. I think that is what we wanted to do. And I think that is how Green Express Cafe is different. And I always say, I treat and serve people, and my staff knows this, the way I want to be treated wherever I go. So people get surprised when I take a wine glass and I say, like, this is how you get water, this is how you get served drink. And I'm like, okay, a wine glass. I'm like, yeah, but that's how I want to be served. And I'm going to be serving you like that. So I think that's what makes the difference.
Okay. I think we'll be popping into Green Express Cafe. It really sounds like a really cool vibe. So we'll definitely be popping into your cafe as Startup Brand Bloemfontein. So we're shifting gears a little bit now. So you are a woman who wears many hats in entrepreneurship. So you're also in the construction industry. So I just wanted to find out that as a woman, in that industry, what would you say has been your overall experience of that specific sector? Because as women, there's always so many things being said about women in that industry, the challenges. But I didn't really want to assume for you. I just wanted to find out, like, what has been your overall experience for you, and what would you advise a young woman trying to get into the industry?
Okay. Well, firstly, going into the construction industry or sector, you need to be very educated and clued up on that. Like you said, there's a lot of labeling going with that. Like, you're a woman. What do you know about construction? This is male dominated or whatsoever. But also what helps with me is you need to be partners with the experts in the sector, in the industry. If you work like hand in hand with partners in the sector, then I think you should be good. And you've asked about maybe my achievements in that sector. DRIP Solutions, I think it's the fastest or the quickest way that I've ever set up a company. So I think that in itself is an achievement.
Yeah. So, like I did say, I don't know where you get the time, but you really are doing quite a lot. So, you often hear people saying statements such as a jack of many trades is a master of none. So, like, I just wanted to really just find out, like, what is your idea, or like, what is your take on that, especially being somebody that is in so many different sectors?
Okay. Wow. I remember saying to somebody, you know what, people you say that, but I don't know who Mr. Jack is. I don't know where he lives, but what I do know is I can multitask and I love what I do. So therefore you can manage, but then also that's why you need to employ the right staff. If you have the right employees, you do not have to be like a jack of all trades, and like you have your project managers, or you have your chefs, or you have your professional staff that helps out in the business. So if you have that setting correct, then you should be a master of all.
Okay, I think one thing that really does stand out for me is because they use from what because I listen to a lot of podcasts and watch a lot of videos. So for the common thing that I get is that a true entrepreneur is not really focused on one thing. They employ the right people, and they are more focused on looking for the business. So I think that's one thing that if we can take anything from you in this session, it's to really not put your eggs in one basket, but to really do that multitasking, but to also remember to have the right partners and the right staff with you. And one thing that I can personally say is that with the pandemic, it's best to have your eggs in a few baskets, because you might find that your eggs were in the construction basket, all of them were in there, and then COVID hit, couldn't work for a few months, and now your company's crashing. But whereas if you had something else, you could sustain yourself for those for that period. So yeah,
No. I
want
just
to add
wanted to
something?
also add on there, you need also to have the right operating systems. You have to have that in place. If that is also in place, then you definitely are good to go.
I think one thing that I would want to know, because I also, well, I'm not as busy as you are, obviously, but I also do a few things, and I do find myself getting a bit overwhelmed, not knowing. I find that a lot of things start clashing, and I start experiencing stuff like burnout. So I just wanted to find out from you, like, how do you manage with everything that you do? Like, do you have a system in place to make sure that you manage, you don't get overwhelmed? Like, what is your go-to strategy, if I may call it that?
Oh, wow. Well, I do get overwhelmed at times, but what I find helps, I keep a checklist and I set reminders on my phone. So then I'm always, you're always on your phone. Like, I mean, technology is everything now. So if I have my checklist on my phone or my diary on my phone, then you're always on top of what's happening. And then there's time management. Um, so I think that works for me. And then also, like I said, employing the right staff, having them in place also helps you to not really burn out. We set up
Yeah.
businesses not to be there 24/7, but we set up businesses for it to be, self-sustained, and you set up a business, you check everything is intact, and then you can go on with your life or set up the next business. Then I think so.
Okay.
That's how I manage.
I think that's something. I think that's something that a lot of people, myself included, need to really learn, to really adapt to, especially like having work, and thinking that you need to be there 24/7,
Yes,
whereas
yes, yes.
a team to assist. So I think the letting go thing is tough, but
It is, but you need to do it. You will burn out. I know.
yeah,
I know. You will burn out.
yeah, I'm taking notes. So yeah, I'm shocked at how quickly the session is going. I think it's because the conversation is so nice. So we're nearing the end of the session, but I don't think we can let you go before you telling us about a little bit about your book titled "Sleeping with the Boss." It sounds quite interesting and controversial. So can you maybe, even if you don't give us everything, can you maybe just give us a bit of a trailer so that we know when it comes out, we are there to buy? So can you maybe just tell us a little bit about it and what inspired it?
Okay. The book. Yo, I'm going to tell you a bit about the book, but not giving it away. I mean, I still want you to go out there and go buy the book and read the book. Okay. The book was hashtag Sleeping with the Boss. It is very controversial because, I mean, a lot of things pop up in people's minds when you just say hashtag Sleeping with the Boss. Okay, it could mean anything.
Yeah.
But this was inspired by my own life experiences. So being married to and sleeping with a boss would be like, okay, not just sleeping with a boss, but sharing a bed with a boss. Since I said my husband is self-sustained, it's like people would think like, oh, but she's never worked a day in her life. And meantime, he's the big CEO of the company. But did he tell you that I'm the owner? So it's not really just about you're living with because he's a
Yeah.
CEO. But then also, on a serious note now, I just wanted whoever reads the book needs to experience life and see it through my experiences and through my eyes, through how I experience everything. And it's like, what you see today, this serial entrepreneur, or how people describe you, like this version of me. I mean, it wasn't built overnight. So I had to go through things to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
So I think that's what inspired my book. It's
do you have a proposed date for when the book will be coming out and where we will be able to get it?
I will not put myself on that kind of pressure.
We'll call you every weekend. Is the book out? Is the book out? But okay, but when it does come out, please do let us know.
You'll be the first to know.
Yeah, I personally would love to read it, and I'm sure quite a few people would also love to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So our second last question for the session is, women in on the African continent as a whole, things are not necessarily the easiest for us. So I just wanted to find out, like, being an entrepreneur and being a woman in Africa, what do you feel your role is towards the African continent?
Okay. You know what I know what we do in these companies that we run. We think globally. Don't just open a business and say, okay, I'm going to operate just here in Bloemfontein or in the Free State. You must try and operate worldwide or nationwide or internationally. And then as well, it's good for the developing of our young boys and girls. And I've always said I'm all for empowering young girls. But as a boy's mom, I'm saying now, why are we leaving the boys behind? So let's empower them too. All these women or all these young girls are going to grow into all these empowered women like myself, for instance. But now, how are these boys going to measure up to them? So that's basically what I'm saying. Create opportunities to let young boys and girls grow and develop in your businesses as well. That will also contribute to the economic of the African continent.
And I think it's quite
globally.
Yeah. You never know. It starts in your town, then the whole country, then the continent. Next thing you know, you are international and global. So I think what that message that you're promoting is actually quite amazing. And I think the one thing that I like about the businesses of today and the trend that I'm seeing is that, businesses are not just being businesses for the sake of making money, but in addition to making money, you wanna influence and impact your community in a positive light. So it's quite it's quite nice to hear you speaking about that social aspect of your business. So the last question, so guys, if you before I ask the last question, I just want to remind everybody, please do post your comments on what you have learned from Joey today. Please do engage with us. And if you guys don't want the voucher, it's fine. I'll take you to the cafe and I'll have a nice meal. So yeah, in closing, well, the last question that I want to ask you is, what are some of the, you've had such a big and colorful and diverse journey from employment to entrepreneurship. What would you say have been some of the important lessons that you have learned throughout this journey?
You need to, firstly, decision making and taking accountability for the decisions that you've made. Flexibility. you know, entrepreneurship is no joke. You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to start this and it's going to work out like that. No, you need to be able to be flexible in your day to day. You know, if think on your feet. I know my husband liked to say that to me, Joey, think on your feet. I can't help you out here. What would you do if I wasn't around? So, you know, think on your feet, negotiations, communications, patience, and delegate. Because you know, if you're not going to delegate, you're going to burn out. So I would think that is the what I should take as an entrepreneur to the next level.
Okay. Yeah, no, those are some very important lessons, and it's really nice to hear how much of the family unit the business is, and like you run the business as a family unit, and the support that you have. So we want to say we appreciate Mr. Vusi there in the background for empowering.
How do you know it?
I just, when I saw the distraction and the laugh, I just knew it. The smile can only come from Mr. Vusi. So
My goodness.
before I hand over to Nandi to be the one who does the to read the Q&A, I'm just gonna sneak in one last question from my side. I hear you talk about negotiating, so which is something that I really struggle with personally. So I just wanted to know, like, how do you draw the line, and how do you know, like, am I negotiating, or is somebody gonna think I'm taking advantage of them? Because I feel like I'm always scared to do the negotiating, because I'm always feeling like somebody will think that I'm taking advantage of them. So, like, I don't know, like, how do you bring yourself to actually initiating that conversation that says, how about you give me a discount here? So this is a personal question that I struggle with it. So I don't know if, yeah.
Of course. The thing is also, don't just go in. I mean, you know what's working in your business. So, I mean, we all know that there is a price, a selling price, and then there's a market price, and then there's a retail price. So we all know that. But I can't go to the lady on the street and say, you know what, I have only 15 rand. Give me these potatoes for 10 rand, or like that. You know, you need to know on which level you come negotiating with people. So me being in the, I'm gonna be talking about the hospitality negotiation. Sorry about that.
We're gonna ban him. Okay. Okay, Nandi, in the meantime, can you just test your mic and see if it's okay? And if you'll be able to ask the question.
Hello, Pishi.
Okay, I just yeah.
Okay, I can
I'm
hear
back.
you, Nandi. I can hear you. I'm sorry, Joey. You can continue.
Okay, and then there's also
You
like
were about, yeah, you were about.
Yes, I was talking about negotiating, and then also with the distribution side. Say I'm distributing whichever products, I also need to go into look. There's also rebate. I don't know if you are familiar with the rebate aspect of the business, but if I go in and I say, okay, you give me 20 of these, I'm going to sell them at this price, but you need to also return a rebate of so and so, but you've got nothing to do with my selling price. So I'm just, yeah, but also taking advantage of people in negotiations, I'm not familiar with that. My word is my honor, like I said, so I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. I think then we're almost at the end of the session, and it looks like we have two questions. So I'm just gonna, for the Q&A session, I'm gonna hand over to Nandi, who will ask you the 2 questions, and then after that we will wrap up and let you go. So Nandi, you can ask the 2 questions.
Thank you so much, Rafilwe. Hello, Joey.
Hi.
So we have one question from Sipes Banani, and his question is, what has been your worst day in business?
Yeah. My worst day in business. I could answer that in many ways, because there's my worst day in business and then there's my worst day at the office. Because during this pandemic, I have had several break-ins at the restaurant. So, that could be described as a worst day, where you feel violated, you feel things are taken away from you in a time where, you need to make amends to just stay afloat. So people doing that, that is a problem. And then also closing in the morning, going to work, getting to the restaurant, and there's no staff because they just decided on one day they just gonna take off and switch their phones off. So I think, and then you have to obviously now jump in as if you not already had other stuff to do. So I think for me, staff doing that to you would, yeah. I would also describe that as one of my mistakes.
Okay.
But the break-ins, definitely.
Okay, after the second question, now, while we're still on the pandemic, the second question is, in this year of the pandemic, what is the one lesson that you learned about yourself and
Sorry,
or
it's
about
raining.
business?
So I can't really hear. I didn't hear the question.
What is the one lesson that you learned during the pandemic about yourself and about the business that you will take with you into the future?
Here.
The question is also in the chat box. If you didn't hear me.
Let me just check here and this here.
Second last question.
Oh yes. What have I learned about myself? I think it is, I love what I do and I'm passionate about what I do. So it doesn't matter, like I've described my worst days earlier, but I could gladly go into the kitchen and then just start running my kitchen smoothly, come back to the front, taking that and run that too. I learned that I'm not backing down to any challenge during this COVID. So I think that's what I've learned about myself. I am this person that I think I was growing up. So yeah, I can do that.
It's been such an absolute pleasure to have you with us, Joey. And a lot of people would have said that, no, it's December, I'm on holiday, no, it's the end of the year, like it's been a stressful year, and they really wouldn't have availed themselves in the short amount of time that you did. So from the bottom of our hearts as the Startup Grind team, we want to say thank you for availing yourself, and we know that you're very busy. So a heartfelt thank you. And in addition to you just being here, I personally learned quite a few things. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and for sharing your thoughts on some of the pressing questions that we have for you. So yeah, I think we're at the end. And I think the voucher, I don't think anybody's going to get the voucher today because of the level of interaction, but yeah, we'll do engage some more on that. But
the voucher. What does it have?
we'll send the voucher at Green Express Cafe. There'll be an inquiry about We said we were gonna give it away, but we spent it internally.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to say before we close, before I let you go, is there any words, no question, nothing, like any thoughts that you would want to share with the community in closing?
I actually typed a message. What I actually want to add to that is you need to be able to understand and know your business, you know, back to front, inside out. Like if you have scenarios, like I said, staff don't show up or whatnot, you need to be able to just jump in and do that. You need to know all the operating systems. You need to know how everything works in your business. Therefore, you will never be stranded. So
Thank you so much for that. And people tend to do let you down. So being able to jump in and save yourself is something that's very important. So once again, everybody, thank you for staying for almost a full hour with us. It's December now. It's New Year. It's Christmas. It's December 16th. So thank you for being here and enjoy the rest of your holidays. So yeah, and Merry Christmas to you and the family as well, Joey. Thank you so much.
thank you, and thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Absolute pleasure.
Okay.